Today marks the Democrats' first day taking charge of the House. And while there's a united front on the shutdown, you'll see a little bit of division later today because at least two progressives, Congresswoman-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Congressman Ro Khanna, say they will vote against the internal rules package. Just the second vote they're going to take today after they elect a House Speaker. Now, here's the reason. It's called PAYGO, or Pay As You Go. It requires the House to offset any spending with tax increases or budget cuts to avoid increasing the budget deficit. Critics worry this could create a self-imposed obstacle to big legislative ideas, say Medicare for all. Former Congresswoman Donna Edwards is back, as well as outgoing Congressman Ryan Costello. So, Congressman Costello, do Ocasio-Cortez and Ro Khanna have a point on PAYGO? Could it pose a major challenge for legislation?
Sure, it could and it would, whether it would be a health care piece or an infrastructure piece. So,
but does it play into the hands of Republicans if you don't pass it to say, there the Democrats go again?
Sure, but listen.
Which is hard to do given the way the deficit has gone. But
yes, I think that it could and it would. But I think, look, they're trying to claim a stake in the ground on probably an issue that's important to them. I don't see any problem with that, although I would say that this is probably not the hill to die on, right?
Yeah.
In terms of how you go about advocating for what you'd like to see done in Congress.
I do wonder, though, Congresswoman Edwards, and we've talked a lot about the diversity in this class, that these people have not come up necessarily through the ranks the way it has been done for a very long time. And even though you only have a couple who have actually said on the record that they're going to vote against it, is this a move that is, in the way Vanity Fair puts it, they did not come to play around, they mean business?
Well, I think that's true. I mean, I remember when I came into Congress, I had never held elective office before. And so I think that's the position that many of these new members are coming in, or they haven't held, really high elective offices. And so they're going to challenge the system. But on the PAYGO rules, progressives in Congress have long opposed PAYGO because it's had the most detrimental effect on social programs, on spending for services and things that would really help people. And so that is actually not a new fight. I suspect that the rules package is still going to pass. But I don't fault these members.
The rules package is going to pass, but I do think one of the things that's different here is, don't you get advice when you come in? Build your relationships, don't be too out there. They're not staying quiet. It's not just that as a progressive, they're doing what progressives have done before. They're doing it in a very public way, and they are making waves from day one.
Well, that is true, but I also think that there's a growing process and a learning process that's going to happen fairly quickly when they realize that in order to have people who are signed on to their legislation and supporting what they're doing, that they will have to build those relationships. But that's a learning process, and it will happen. But at the same time, some of our conventional wisdom in the Congress needs to be challenged, and this is the right crowd to do it.
And picking up on what Donna said, the conventional approach to politics and generating your brand is way, way different. I mean, Congresswoman-elect
Ocasio-Cortez in her kitchen
has more Twitter followers than I do by a lot.
Yeah.
And so, how you go out and make a name for yourself and how you go out and message issues is different in 2018 than it was in 2014. And so normally the conventional wisdom is work your relationships, be part of the team, work your way up the committee structure. That's how you get power. That's how you use your leverage. And we're finding in this era that there's a different way of doing it, and that's what she's seeking to do.
Yeah, and I also am very curious about what you think about this, Donna, which is that now that we have more diversity, now that we have a Congress that looks more like America, does it change the equation? Does it change the conversations in the room? Does it change the priorities that the Democratic Party has?
Well, I think it always changes the conversation in the room where you have people who represent the diversity that is America, and I think that's a good thing. It should impact the Democratic agenda. It should reinforce our values. And so this is going to be added value to the table over the long haul. And I suspect that many of these members, new members, are going to realize, they're going to recognize that in addition to what they do on the outside, it's really important what and how they do it on the inside. And they're smart, they're going to do it, they're savvy, and it isn't just about Twitter followers, it's also about governance, and they'll discover that too.
Having said that, Congressman, how hard is it to come in first thing and try to have an impact? This is a system that's built on seniority. It's built on what committees you're on. Government's still going to work the same way.
It's understanding the legislative process. It's getting a committee assignment. It's learning the subject matter of whatever committee that you're on. It's hiring your staff. It's understanding what the function of your staff is. It's trying to develop a rapport with your constituents. No matter how successful any one of these candidates was on Election Day and now about to be sworn in, they still likely are going to want to be focused on their district to generate that credibility, because there's going to be a lot of, when you're in Congress, there's a lot of tough votes. And no matter how you vote, there's a way to say what you voted for was bad, and there's a way to say what you voted for was good. And you need to be able to go back to your constituents and explain why you voted as you did. And you can't do that if you're not constantly generating that feedback loop and goodwill with your constituents. So all that has to be done while you're trying to climb up the ladder and get your committee assignment and be a legislative tactician and successfully get stuff to the finish line.
So how do you feel? You're about to be no longer, you're going to be the former congressman. We're about to give you the former title.
Yeah, well, it's an honor to serve, and I'm excited for everybody that's going to get sworn in. I think that it is the single most fascinating political institution we have in this country, because every single 2 years it regenerates and refreshes itself.
Donna, we're out of time, but can you tell him there is life after Congress?
There is definitely life after Congress. Join me.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.